Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to Friday the 5th of July here at Giga Texas, and I hope you had a great Independence Day holiday yesterday, if you observed that or if you're here in the United States. And also, just as a quick reminder, if you did not see on the 3rd of July, I released it on the 4th of July, I got a chance to tour inside Giga Texas. And I was invited by the Director of Manufacturing, Jason, and also Greg gave me a tour around the site, and I documented everything that I could, at least for the video yesterday, so you get a little bit of a flavor of what was going on. So make sure you check that out. Now, one of the interesting things is during my tour, Greg, who was giving me the tour, mentioned that they were doing something special on top of the multi-level parking garage, and he asked if I was going to be flying on Friday, and I said I wasn't really sure, and he asked me to fly and make sure that I pay attention on the multi-level parking garage. So that's what I did today, and they have a very special display of the Model Ys in the shape of a Texas flag, red, white, and blue, and it's really neat to see that they are embracing their Texas heritage now that Giga Texas and Tesla are part of Texas as an incorporated company. So that's pretty cool that they would do that, and how excited they were for drone shots of what was going on the multi-level parking garage. Now, a couple of things that I want to talk about in the intro here before we get into the grand tour video. First of all, there is a hurricane barrel that is coming through the Gulf of Mexico, maybe hitting Starbase, which I really do hope that everybody there will be safe when that happens, probably sometime this weekend. And then it's going to come up to the San Antonio and Austin area, and we may be getting heavy rains for several days next week. So that may affect what I can do as far as flying the drone here at Giga Texas. That'll be something that I monitor. Now, another thing that I do want to point out is really neat, especially coming off of my tour of Giga Texas and the video that I put out, and that has to do with the south end of the structure. Now, we know that it is a supercomputer cluster that's being installed there, and it's going to be an instrumental part of the hardware for training that's going to go on down there. But late last night, at the end of the 4th of July, Elon Musk put out a video and he did some narration. So I'll run that here so you get a chance to see what he says about the south end.
Hey everyone, happy July 4th. Fireworks in the background. Just here at Tesla Gigafactory. We're finalizing the construction of the supercomputer cluster here, which is the south extension. And we hopefully will have this online in a few months.
All right, so it's pretty cool to get Elon Musk to give us a little tour of that south end as well, and some updates. So something that we'll be able to continue to monitor by the drone as time goes on. Now, for today's video, I mentioned a grand tour. I took the opportunity that it is kind of a down day for the national holiday, and I toured all around the site, almost all of the 3,000 plus acres that makes up Giga Texas. So you're going to see a lot of views that you don't normally see, a lot of parts of the site that you don't normally see, and I hope that you enjoy the views that I'm able to give you. So as always, thank you very much for your support. I do very much appreciate it. And again, I hope you have a great long weekend, and take care.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. All right, a good morning here at Giga Texas on Friday, the 5th of July. We're starting on the south end. A great view of the activity and how it looks today. And since it is a holiday, there's not a lot of production, very little construction. So that's why I'm going to do the grand tour around the entire site. But before we head out to take a look at all of the 3,100 plus acres of Giga Texas, we're going to first go over to the multi-level parking garage where, as I mentioned in the intro, the Tesla employees had decided to put up a display on the top of the multi-level parking garage. They asked me to fly today to specifically look for this, as this is a little bit of a celebration not only for the 4th of July, but also to signify the incorporation of Giga Texas and Tesla here in the state of Texas, and kind of its independence, if you kind of understand what I'm trying to get at. But this is a great view of the Texas flag made up of red, white, and blue Model Ys on the roof of the multi-level parking garage. And you know, you cannot see this from the ground level, so this is specifically made for drone work. And I really appreciate them giving me the heads up and asking me to come fly and get these images of this event and let everybody see what is going on. So let's continue to fly around, and I'll give you some other views of this very unique Texas flag put up on the multi-level parking garage. I hope you enjoyed that, taking a look at this very unique Texas flag made up of those Model Ys and some of the fun that Tesla and their employees are having here. And I think that's one of the things that helps set Tesla apart and many of their factories. And we've seen this around the world where they work extremely hard with the production, developing products, construction, and just putting it all together. But they also have a lot of fun along the way as well. And it's, for me, I think it's great to see. So let's begin the grand tour. On the bottom left of the screen, this is the normal east side that I'm able to show you periodically, and this is where all the workshops, material staging, and so forth is located. You see some of these dirt roads. Eventually, these are going to be the extension of River Road that will wrap around not only where the multi-level parking garage is, but all around this location next to the Colorado River, as is what we see on the right-hand side of the screen, and then up to the battery cathode plant. Dividing the Colorado River on the left and this large lake on the right is that small strip of land. It does have a roadway, and that actually connects around on the south side of the Colorado River over to the main highway. Now, as we fly over this lake, I want to let you know that this is part of Giga Texas's property. This was an addition to their land a few years ago. It was about a 600-acre purchase, which put it from 2,500 acres to about 3,100 acres. The map in the upper right shows you about where we are located on the very far southeast of Giga Texas and the property. As we continue to maneuver around on the south, this large green area is also part of that land that was purchased. You'll notice that there is a kind of a horse farm. It's a kind of a horse training location in the exact middle of the screen that is leased back to that farm and that horse ranch for the next several years, and eventually that will be used by Tesla. Now, this is the water treatment plant that does serve this region and Giga Texas. We often see that water tower with the kind of that ball top on the right-hand side of the screen in the distance, but this is what it looks like over here, looking up towards the north to Giga Texas. This structure on the bottom and also along this road is part of a underground treated water pipe that was added to help service Giga Texas, and that actually goes underneath the Colorado River and runs the length of the east side of Giga Texas. This is the Sand Hill Energy Plant. This is a energy plant that does provide power for the region and Giga Texas. Also on the right, you can see the kind of familiar 6-fan cooling plant. And in many ways, it's similar to what we see on the southeast side of the Giga Texas main factory that's been under construction, and you can see that in the right-hand side of the screen. As we continue to fly over the power plant, we can see that we are south of the Colorado River, a great view of that south end of Giga Texas with the Cyber Pond and River Road, and also the South Bridge, where we've seen a lot of the work recently on the fiber optic cables. As we cross over the highway, which has very little traffic today due to the holiday, we are kind of tracing the Colorado River over to the west side, and this is called the West Support Facility for Giga Texas. Now, Giga Texas's property ends at the Colorado River, so we are just south of the property, but this is a great overall view of how this looks and how it is continuing to be developed. That large triangular kind of clearing is where that's going to be most likely another parking lot. The map gives you a great idea of where we are. We are fast approaching the far southwest corner of Giga Texas and the property here. It's a great view looking across the Colorado River to that contractor parking. Also that clearing where they have been removing some of the last hills and ponds that were for the sand and gravel mine that used to be in this entire area before Tesla purchased it. And as we get closer in, a good view of all of the contractor vehicles. These are most likely the ones that are doing construction around the site, and shuttle buses that take them over towards the main site. Here's a great view of this area where some of the earthwork is done. You know, I still think that this would be a great place for a test track, and that is something that Giga Texas will need at some point in the future. So hopefully we will see something like that put in, and I'll be able to show you as that is developed. But I do know that many of the people I talked to during my tour at Giga Texas have expressed the desire to have a better test track than what they currently have on the west side of the new end-of-line facility. As we fly to the north along Farm to Market 973, you can tell that this is in the process of being widened. Eventually, this will be 4 lanes, and this is necessary because of all of the construction and work that is coming into this area because of Giga Texas. This map gives you a great idea of where we are located. As you can see, that kind of jutting out portion of the property is right here, and this is also part of Giga Texas. All of these kind of linear hills are part of the sand and gravel mine that used to be here. In fact, the factory itself, where it is built, used to look a lot like this. And recently, they've been using a lot of this dirt to fill in portions of the site as they prepare the grade and raise it and do other work to prepare for either large parking lots, outbound lots, or construction. Here's a great view with the map of where we are located, and on that right-hand side of the screen is Tesla property. As we cross over Farm to Market 973 and trace along Tesla Road, we can see the property on the south side of Tesla Road is Giga Texas. This middle portion is actually the Lone Star Asphalt and Concrete Factory, so that does not belong to Tesla, but this field below us with the rolls of hay does belong to Tesla. So we are now flying over the far west side. The main highway is off to the left. The map gives you a great idea of where we are. And again, this is part of Tesla's property. At some point in the future, this could be developed, and it is a substantial part of the property that we don't normally get to see. As I continue to fly to the north over this green belt, you're going to start seeing these linear hills again, and that's because this is where more of that sand and gravel mining took place in the last many decades before Giga Texas was built. And as we continue to fly further to the north, all of this that we see below us with the trees, the hills, the ponds, and the grass is part of Giga Texas. And as we fly even further to the north, I'll put another map up to get a good sense of where we are located. We are starting to approach the far northwest corner of the property. It does continue to extend several more, maybe about a tenth or 2/10 of a mile behind the drone from where we are at. And so what I'm going to do is fly up over the highway, and I'm going to turn back towards the west and to give you a good view of what that looks like after we go across the highway. But a great view down the highway towards Giga Texas and how far away we are located now. As I mentioned, I'm turning back to look at the west. The map gives you an idea of where we are looking and that north part of Giga Texas and Tesla's property. And then as we look back to the south, we'll continue to fly on this far north portion of the property, and I will continue to proceed even more to the north as we look back across this pond and all of this property that separates where the drone is now and Giga Texas in the distant part of the screen. And we see some of these old structures. There's a map to give you an idea of where we are located. And in the kind of left-hand side of the screen, where you see that large rectangular field, where just to the north of that, where there's those clump of trees, it used to be an old farmhouse that was recently demolished. This roadway is not part of Giga Texas, but it separates the land that is owned by Tesla. So what we are flying over right now is still part of the property. And taking a look all the way back to Giga Texas gives you a really good idea of just the immensity of this land that they own. As we fly over this community center and a school, also some new apartments that have been built on the left-hand side of the screen, we are kind of tracking along the northeast portion of the property that Tesla owns. And here's a great view of this football field that would be American football for my worldwide viewers, and a track. And this gives you a great view from here all the way back to Giga Texas, and how this is still around this area, not the school, not this kind of recreation center, but everything else is a part of Giga Texas's property. So it is quite immense. Now next to this road, we see road work and some pipes that are being installed. This is part of an expansion program that will also bring the roadway that will connect the housing on the bottom left just behind the drone all the way over to the west to that central highway. And that's going to be the new Harold Green Road, and it's going to be kind of following the dirt road on the bottom of the screen and then proceeding to the west next to that lone tree. And we can also get a good view of the rental equipment lot where some of the maintenance is done. And also at the bottom of the screen, some of the work that is continuing to put in pipes and prepare for that large roadway that will be the new Harold Green. And Harold Green Road is now Tesla Road. It was renamed a few years ago. Put a map up, give you an idea of where we are. We're looking along that Colorado River again. And on the left-hand side of the screen is kind of a peninsula, not quite an island. And you can see that cell tower. This is also all of Giga Texas's property. And we also know that in this field in the kind of upper center of the screen next to that cell tower, there is eventually a strong possibility that a boring tunnel will be constructed here going under the Colorado River and connecting over towards the cathode plant. Now that project is currently on hold. I don't know when or if that will be revived, but it is nonetheless part of a plan. Here's a map giving you a good idea of where we are located. We're flying along the far east section of Giga Texas, looking across this lake again. And again, all of this is part of Tesla's property, and of course the factory in the distance. So let's proceed towards the west over the lake, and we'll get a little closer to the more familiar parts of Giga Texas that I'm able to show you on a more or less daily basis. This is the normal east side of Giga Texas that I can show you. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that all of this is pretty much just temporary because it's for contractor trailers, equipment, materials. All of that eventually will be available to be developed by Tesla for additional buildings, maybe a new expansion factory, maybe some support infrastructure. But it looks like there's a lot of activity there and infrastructure, but it's all temporary. Of course, the battery cathode plant and the die shop, as we pass over that, the Martin Marietta batch plant eventually will go away. And again, all of this is Tesla property, all of the trees and the grass as well next to the electrical switch yard. And this is something that eventually could be developed as well. So this property, I hope that this tour gives you an idea of just how immense this is. And even though we see a lot of construction, it's a fraction of the overall property. Now, what we see at the bottom of the screen is where they have a lot of the landscaping materials and some of the plants that are being used for landscaping. And then we're passing over the mobile batch plant that has been responsible for much of the concrete used for the construction of Giga Texas. On the left-hand side of the screen is that new permanent electrical switch yard, and part of it is getting ready to be connected through new conduit that will bring it fully online, and that will help support the supercomputer cluster on the south end. The Megapack site is fully operational. You can get a great view as we fly over that, and then this dirt section is where all that conduit is being finalized, going underneath Tesla Road and connecting to the northeast corner of the factory. And then the wires are proceeding along the parapet wall on the east side of the roof all the way to the south end. So I'm going to take this opportunity as we get in much closer to the factory to do a 360-degree tour. And this is a great perspective to get a good idea of what all is happening here at the factory. Now we see that work on the east side of the casting with that baghouse filtration plant and that superstructure. Many of the castings on the ground, more of the work next to the receiving doors and that secondary main entrance. Some of the temporary portable air conditioning units on the ground next to that tower, and that is because the work on the roof and that clean white section with the ventilation duct is finishing up, and that will bring the permanent cooling system to that part of the factory. We get a great view of the cooling plant with those 6 fans, that extension of the building, the glass for the south-facing part of Giga Texas as well, and the work to connect the extension and that cooling plant. Also a great view of some of the earthwork at the bottom of the screen next to the cyber pond. And also a great view of how the extension has been connected completely onto the original building. And it will look now as if it is one contiguous large structure, although Giga Texas is really a number of individual structures connected together under a common roof. And we've seen that with this south extension as well. And on the bottom of the screen, a great point to see where we normally look inside in that south end, as the glass is not installed yet. A lot of the progress and work underway with the trailers on the west side of General Assembly, the west main entrance, that crane with the flags. And I have a pretty good idea that we will be seeing permanent flag poles installed in the near future. On the ground, we see all of that earthwork. That's where those fiber optics are being placed. And of course, this is the portion of the factory that the 4680s are manufactured on this northwest corner. So as we continue to finish this 360-degree tour of Giga Texas, I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to see, the very interesting and cool Texas flag that Tesla made with the Model Ys on the multi-level parking garage, the grand tour around the bulk of the 3,100 plus acres of Giga Texas, and a great tour around the main factory. So thank you very much for your support. I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to see, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Take care.